don't want to hear.
Marcus disinfo. But yeah, I know you were asking hard questions. No, I couldn't see that because when you're on a live, Miss Cat, you can't scrub back and forth. So I did actually try to do that, and I couldn't go. When you're on a live, you can only watch what's actually happening in that second. So none of that did I catch.
So hopefully there are some people that have DM'd me that are like, I'm going to try and look through what I've been able to salvage, and we may be able to release some videos of what has been salvaged from...
What about Adrian? Didn't he probably screenshot a bunch of it?
Adrian may be one of the people who got some of the footage
Oh,
saved.
I have almost all of it from my own perspective.
So also, yeah, okay, so we have another video that may have been saved.
Well, yeah, it's just video onto my phone.
So that we may be able, at End the NDP, may be able to release some more footage. Filming live.
It's probably a pretty funny under-the-scenes account of it, actually. Let's watch that.
I think it's ridiculous. I've never had a live stream that is doing what it's doing now, which is just like, it's not existent. So I assume it's been reported multiple times by ostrich activists. And listen, I am totally pro-ostrich. I am not pro-corruption. So if people are grifting, if people are making however much money, any amount of money, if people are making any amount of money off of grifting, off of charismatic megafauna...
making money, but I wouldn't even level those accusations.
No, because there's the court...
What I would say is, this is all about the legal fight and this and that.
There's court costs that are huge.
Transparency is available in fundraising and stuff like this. I wouldn't get myself too nattery out onto the end of the stick here. What I would say is, it all boils down to the same thing. I do not detect transparency on either side. Therefore, it's a moot point for me. Do I believe that there's property rights with livestock? Yes. Do I believe that if the CFIA has gotten in over their head and they're very concerned about this flock and the science that's behind it or whatever, and they're concerned about some kind of evolutionary serial passaging or something of this nature, then yes, just be transparent with that. And then, the third thing being whatever it is I said before, I can't remember all the stuff, but I wouldn't go too far out on sticks, like whenever we find ourselves too far out on stick, those sticks can get pretty tiny and you may not have a grounding that you think you have, right? So I wouldn't I wouldn't level like accusations, right? Like you're a really big bee's nest stirrer-upper, Miss Cat. Do you understand? You like this as like your recurring day soap opera, right? So
I mean, RIL, I did this for a long time.
Try to temper your, female tendency here towards just creating a big fucking show to say, like, just hold your pants for a second, because we don't know. Like, the correct answer here is we do not have the data to say they are this or they are that or CFI
Did he just lock the
CFA
door?
that.
I got my keys.
Be, impeccable in our
absolutely. However,
you're really good at that for the most part, but once you get offended, you tend to get a little emotional. Once the emotions are kicked in, logic tends to go.
I'm a woman. I'm so emotional. Anyways, it's just very suspicious that the people who would be criticized, right, that they would be phoning the person who I'm hanging out with, telling me to delete the space, and then the space is like defunct, right? So like that's where I'm like, like probabilities. I'm just looking at probabilities.
Alarms going off.
Beep, 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 beep. My smoke alarm detector continues to beep. Maybe I need to change the batteries. Maybe something is wrong.
Yeah, there's some...
the NDP has a new job then.
Well...
he's there. But no, what I encourage with this stuff is temperance and like, if you're going, like, I'm not saying that everybody that's a speaker or a listener in a space has to do this, but, you have to, if you're a host or a co-host of a space, I view it as kind of like your purview to kind of like, guide and say, like, what are your basis of assumption on this, that, the other thing, and what I...
Yes.
I'm just going to be, now I'm repetitive, right? I'm just going to go repetitive again.
So
again,
Wog,
you know the data, then you can't say the conclusion.
So how, exactly, so as a space host, how can you determine if someone is yelling fire in a theater, how can you determine if there is actually a fire in the theater?
On what data are you basing that assumption?
Exactly.
Right? So I try to let people do their thing, and then when I detect that either they're A, they're an asshole, or B, they're a bullshitter, or C, they're a narrative shaper, I just won't do that. I just let them go on and on and on, and then eventually they'll tie their own noose, right?
Give them enough rope.
There's like a fine art here of what's going on. For people that are attuned to it, I don't think that most of the people are fully conscious of what's actually happening in these spaces. They just want to go off of, like, you know, oh, he swore, or something was offensive, or he cut that person off, or something like this. So they end up in those lathering, you know, boomer spaces, which is fine, because that's great, right? Like, we're trying to teach discernment, and discernment is a skill that, you know, much like, to take the fire analogy to a different thing, and I got very mad about this when I was, you know, a teenager. One of my buddies was playing with fire on a couple of things he shouldn't have been doing, and I actually wrote this on a piece of paper and stuck it on my door with a tack and said, you can't tell someone their house is on fire until they smell the smoke, right? You can't tell an alcoholic, you can't tell a drug addict, you can't tell whatever, you know, pick your poison, until they smell it, right? And because it's a personal journey of this kind of stuff. So all you can do is illustrate it to the people that are attuned to it. You can point it out. You can try to dissect it and this and that and the other thing. But really, it's all about all of us collectively leveling up. I find myself leveling up all the time. Especially if we have good smarty pantses in here and stuff, like, that's great, and I try to level up too. So I don't know everything. I don't know, and that's probably one of my biggest niggle points of these spaces, that sometimes people look, at the host or something. It's like, well, what do you think there, Wog Pog? It's like, I don't fucking, how the fuck do I know?
What the fuck do you think, Wog Pog? No,
how do I know?
I love that. Okay. I love that about you, because a lot of people can't admit when they simply don't know. Like, if you don't know something, or if you don't have enough information, just state as such. There's some people who will literally just talk out of their ass and bullshit, as opposed to just say, I don't know.
I'm guilty of that as well.
Well, a little bit. Just a little bit. That's okay. You're allowed some latitude as well. You can bullshit a little bit. You are also a performance artist, so you're crossing over the two.
It went dead.
You also need to be able to entertain. That's the crossover. So you're informing and entertaining. So everyone take everything with a grain of salt, and think for yourself. Take everything with a grain of salt and think for yourself.
And here's an important point. If you're going to make yourself a target, you got to be ready to take the hits.
Yeah, that's a fine howdy you duty.
I just took another shot of gin. Let's fucking ride.
Set the cockatiels free.
I am not setting... There is winter in Canada. I cannot set the cockatiels free. I love them. They're my babies.
My girlfriend had some cockatiels. She used to let them out and go out, and friggin' things would dive bomb me while I was having a nap on the couch.
My cockatiels are flighted, so they would be gone. Although at one point in time, so I have 3 cockatiels. One of my cockatiels I've had